Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right? Journaling till your wrist begs for mercy, reading books, drinking water like a desert plant, and you still feel stuck. Like your life is on buffering mode. Yes? Same. Here's the wild part. What actually worked for me was not listening to TED Talks or making a productive planner or having a morning routine of waking up at 4 a.m. Because respectfully, no. It was keeping promises to myself. Sounds simple, but don't scroll just yet. It is way more deeper than it sounds. And maybe this is the missing link you need in your self-love and self-growth journey. Let's be honest, most of us have PhDs and degrees in keeping promises to others. We will show up for our boss at 7 a.m. even if we had a mental breakdown at 3 a.m. and our souls were literally trying to leave our bodies at that time. We will show up. You will show up to that birthday you have been invited, even if you felt like you didn't want to attend and your social energy battery was at low, because you don't want to disappoint. But when you say you'll wake up at 6 a.m. and journal, and you don't do it. When you say, oh, I will start to walk 5 minutes a day every morning, and you don't do it, what happens? Nothing. But deep down, you know you are to blame. We ghost ourselves more than people in our lives. I don't know, we have this habit of ghosting ourselves. Like we say one thing and then we don't do it. So here it is, keeping promises to yourself. If you say you're going to journal for 10 minutes, do it. If you'll say that you're going to wake up at 6 a.m., then do it. If you will say that you're going to rest and just put your body at a state of rest and not feel guilty, then drop that guilt like a hot potato and rest. It is not about the big things, it is the small things. That is where the power is. It is showing up for yourself after you've made the promise to yourself and made the pact to yourself to show up for self. And when you start to show up for yourself, when you start to keep the promises you've made to yourself to do, that is where you start to tap in your power. This is deeper than self-discipline. It is more about self-respect. When you constantly break the promises you've made to yourself, you chip away from your self-worth. Because you'll start saying things like, I will not push through. You push your goals away because you're not keeping the promise you've made to yourself. And you'll end up feeling like your goals don't matter, because at the end of the day, the goals you've planned, you're not showing up for them. You may end up stop believing in yourself. You may end up not even having goals, because you know when you write them down, when you say you're going to do it, you don't end up doing. This is a tiny story. You see, when people say this prayer of when you pray God to take away someone who is not meant in your life, that it happens in a speed of light. Well, it took a toll on me, because there was a time I was asking God, I know this person is not right for me, and I'm going to stop replying to his texts, I'm going to stop reaching out to him, I'm going to stop any contact whatsoever with him, because that is the promise I've made to myself. And I ask God, and anytime I pray to God and say, God, if this person is not for me, take him away, immediately after that prayer I get a call from that person. So I thought that person was supposed to be, but that person was not supposed to be in my life. I was supposed to be courageous enough and realize that that person was messing up with my life, and he actually ended up messing up with my life. A story for another. But the thing is that I had to even apologize to myself and cry for myself, because I used to break that promise over and over. I said, I'm not going to contact this person, then I end up contacting this person, and I'm like, I look in the mirror, I say, I know you'll not even believe the words I'm saying. That's what's happened when you don't keep the promises you make to yourself. You end up feeling a bit low about yourself, because you don't even show up for yourself. You don't keep the promises you made to yourself. And deep down, there is a person who is you hurting. Look, it doesn't have to be boring. So, you see, I'll make my bed every time I wake up. And every time I wake up, I have to make my bed. It's the smallest thing. You say, oh, I'm going to stretch for 5 minutes. You stretch even if you feel like you are like a flamingo. When you say you're going to journal, you do the little things and journal. And when you start to keep the promises you made yourself, when you start to showing up to yourself, you aligning yourself to the things that you said you're going to do. So you're aligning the belief and you're aligning the showing up for yourself, because showing up for yourself is keeping the promise. When you say you won't do that, Please restrain from yourself. Restrain yourself and say, I want to do that, and show up for yourself. Goal is progress, not perfection. Honor yourself by honoring the words you make to yourself. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling stuck, you're feeling, oh my God, can I really do all this in overnight? No, you can't. Start small, start little, and start keeping the promise you make to yourself. If this resonated with you, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and drop in the comment section one thing that you're going to make sure you keep the promise to yourself, even if it's small, even if it's silly. I would love to cheer you on. And remember, you're not lazy, you are not broken, you just needed you to show up for you. Be kind to yourself and others.